The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
Me and a Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 565. Mr. Simon.
A little confusing. Uphill, downhill, round the big old turn. Kentucky Downs. Huzzah!
3 different stretch run cameras. Huzzah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a finish. Nope. There's a finish line. Nope. There's the finish line.
Okay. No, we're gonna. You texted me Kentucky Downs, and I purposely had not suggested it to you. And then you were like, a couple days ago, we were like, yeah, we're gonna do this at 1 o'clock. Great. Please do Del Mar. Please do Del Mar. Hey, we'll do Kentucky Downs. Yeah. We can do Kentucky. I'm doing it for you and for the listeners, but mostly for you.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, before we should jump into the handicap, let's talk a little about Kentucky Downs, what makes it so unique for anyone out there who hasn't watched it. It's a all-turf course, and I would describe it as a European style turf course. You think that's fair, Magic?
Yes.
We've got uphills. We've got downhills. We've got a very small first turn, which is rarely used because of the size of the track, and then a monstrously large second turn, which creates a bunch of different camera angles that you're going to see. There's 3 different stretch cameras that they have to cut to because the stretch is so long, and photo finishes heavily favor the outside. I can't remember if it's outside or inside, one of the two. And so it makes it very difficult to call photos as well at this track. Other thing that's been very prevalent this meet specifically, oh boy, do you want to be forwardly placed. I don't think I have seen any horse come from way back and win races. So you have to be on the lead or close to the lead to win right now at Kentucky Downs. Now, we might have rain before Saturday, which could change things, obviously, with turf courses. But as playing right now, if you are not in the top flight, it is very difficult to win a race. Did I miss anything there, Magic?
No, you nailed it all. I found this really cool part. By the way, the thing about the being forwardly placed, like, there's only been a couple cases where those horses have fallen off drastically, but no, I found this clip. I wanted to pull it up here for the people who are watching. It's drone footage of Kentucky Downs. So if you want to see, first of all, it's literally like there's nothing. Hey, there's a giant horse track with a casino attached to it, but this thing is massive. Let me speed it up a little bit, kind of take you through. It's sweeping turns. And then you see there's like a hill that you go up on the back stretch. They have to make a right turn. It's kind of like the opposite of the Santa Anita downhill turf.
Yeah,
it's like you go up the hill, right, and then a quick big sweeping left. You don't have to cross the dirt, thankfully, but it looks like it's in Prairie Meadows, right?
Yep.
Because it's just out in the middle of nowhere there. But European horses, I usually like to give them a slight edge, though. For me, it wasn't an automatic thing if you're a European, but horses that have run well here in the past, because it's so wacky, those ones get a big edge for me. There's a couple races where we've got multiple winners at Kentucky Downs, like multiple horses that are multiple race winners. So yeah, cool drone shot of Kentucky Downs. And that's why, if you're just listening on the podcast, is why you got to watch the video version.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it in the sprint. That, to me, was one of the toughest ones because you've got Cogburn back off the world record, as you say, performance at Saratoga going 5.5. And, man, there are 2 horses in that race, Gear Jockey and One Timer, who absolutely love this course. And Gear Jockey specifically, 2 for 2 over the course, won this race last year, 30-1 on the morning line. Why? We haven't seen him in almost a year, but we know he loves this track. And so it's, what do you do with horses like that? Like his best at Kentucky Downs could very well win that race. Who knows what version of him we'll get, but we know he loves the track.
Well, hopefully you love us because you're listening to us, or at least you love playing Kentucky Downs. And maybe if you feel like Kentucky Downs, you're probably into some S&M, and that's cool with us. We don't kink shame. We've got the late pick 5 at Kentucky Downs Saturday, September 7th, races 8 through 12 on the way. Riders up. Kicking off then, I didn't put it on screen. Kicking off the late pick 5 at Kentucky Downs on Saturday, September 7th, race 8. It's the grade 3 Mint Millions for 11 males, 3 and up, running a mile for $2 million. Last year's winner, Ancient Rome, he's back in here. We also get another look at last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf runner-up, Mountain Bear. Where'd you go on top?
I went back to last year's winner, Ancient Rome here. You mentioned this is a $2 million race. And so because of these purses at Kentucky Downs, we're getting some very, very good Europeans that decide to fly in here and take on what the U.S. has to offer. Love the fact that you've got a win over this turf course. This is Ancient Rome, also a horse that's consistently been forwardly placed. I like the fact that this horse actually ran at Colonial in the Arlington Million as well. I think that gives him a little better chance of being able to immediately take to this course and ship over. Had no problem doing it last year. If you look last year, very similar kind of style of heading over here. Ran one race before this over there. Won that race, was a handicap, then jumped right into this level. Got a big win. Has been competitive in some of the bigger races over in Europe. Then comes in for that Arlington Million. Runs a pretty good third behind Nation's Pride and Integration. We'll talk about here in a second. Everything just kind of sets up well again for Ancient Rome. The 10 post, I think, is a pretty good post to have, specifically for the distance that they are going here, because you've got that first turn going the opposite direction. The outside's kind of the inside at first, and then it becomes the outside. So it gives you an opportunity to be able to get good position. So don't mind the 10 post here. And should be enough speed in front of Ancient Rome for him to be able to sit close to the pace just like last year and then pounce when they head into the stretch. So 10 horse Ancient Rome, 5-2 on top for me. What about you, Magic? And Magic's muted.
Damn it. Sorry. Off to a bad start. At least I got out of the way early. No, I used him. Not the top pick for me, but I definitely used him. When we previewed the Arlington Million, I was like, this is just a prep race for him to be back in the States and get a race under him before he goes back to Kentucky Downs. So it makes sense that he's here. I went with the number 2 Mountain Bear on top. I mean, Frankie Dettori's been riding his ass off so far at this meet, but this horse has taken a bit of a class drop as well. If you look at who he's been facing, he went to Royal Ascot for the Jersey Stakes, Group 3 race, was 4th in that event. Before that was in the Group 1 Irish Guineas. He's coming out of a really close second at 20-1 at Leopardstown. He might need to be more forwardly placed than he usually is, but I'm trusting Frankie Dettori to get this one up. Aidan O'Brien's never had a starter at Kentucky Downs, ever, and this will be the first one. Does he have one earlier on the card? Anyway, Saturday, I believe, is his first day of having horses start at Kentucky Downs. So I like that he brings over Mountain Bear and trust Frankie to get him the right ride.
Yeah, pretty wild. It's going to be Aiden's first starter here at Kentucky Downs, just considering the purse sizes and the style of the turf. You would think that he would want to send horses over here to run over this turf course, because it's very similar to what we see in some of those European courses. I used Mountain Bear as well. It was third pick for me, and the reason it wasn't higher up is because of the setup here. Mountain Bear is going to have to be a little bit closer to the pace to be able to win. Like I said, we've not seen horses come from the back of the pack to be able to win races so far at Kentucky Downs. That's my biggest concern about the 2 Mountain Bear, but at the same time, I no interest in leaving this horse off my ticket. This was one of those that I kind of, when I was going through, felt like I almost had to use. I feel like this is an improved horse since what we saw last time in the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita, and went very well there. Second to Unquestionable, who was a very, very good Aidan O'Brien horse as well. Had the exacta that day. Don't really want to talk about it because that one haunts my dreams when it comes to the BCBC, but that's neither here nor there. So I like Mountain Bear quite a bit in this spot. Had him in third. Horse that I had squeezed between the 10 and the 2 was the 8, Talk of the Nation. 1-for-1 over Kentucky Downs. So won the Gun Runner $1 million stakes race last year, and did so by sitting close to the pace and taking over into the stretch. I love the fact that this horse has tactical speed, has a win over the racetrack, and again, should be able to sit that very similar trip. So it's someone who's going to be forwardly placed and someone that's won at the track. Those are two of the things that I'm looking for when I'm going through these fields. And Talk of the Nation here checks both boxes for Pletcher. And you mentioned Irad Ortiz, not done great. This is one of those horses that I think is a very good mount for him, not one of the mounts that kind of is a little bit funky when you get here at Kentucky Downs.
Boy, Talk of the Nation is that horse that I think we're still waiting for him to make that next leap forward, because he was so hyped coming into 2024. He was, had a really solid 2023, and he keeps being just close. Now he's lost to Carl Spackler twice, and Carl Spackler is now a Grade 1 winner. So it's okay that you lose that closer to it, but he just keeps getting close. So we'll see if he's able to get the job done. I put him in 4th. I did not use him. He's sitting in 4th for me. Part of it was the price. He's 4-1 here, but he's a good horse to use. It just, for me, was hit the cutting room floor. I went with the 3 Irish Aces for my last pick in this race. It's Brendan Walsh, Tyler Gaffleone. When they're together in the last 5 years at Kentucky Downs, it's not just I love these guys, but at Kentucky Downs specifically, they're 23% together in the last 5 years, $3.24 ROI. So they're getting horses home. The average payout is $14 and change. This horse is coming off of a win here at Kentucky Downs going to mile 70 in the Tappet Stakes. That was a race restricted to non-stakes winners, but you had some decent horses in there. 911 Turbo, good speedster, so for him to go after 911 Turbo and catch him late and get him there, I thought was impressive. And he seems to be doing as well as ever in his career. I like that as well. And Tyler Gaffalione, there's 2 horses he could have been for Brendan Walsh in this race. He goes with Irish Aces. So who am I to say that was a bad decision?
So this was the choice for me. It was the 3 in the last or the 3 in the first. Which one makes the ticket? I right now have 3 in the last, but I reserve the right to change that if I decide to change my mind here. I thought Irish Aces makes a ton of sense. It's interesting trying to figure out how to rate these comeback horses. There's a couple on the card that we're going to talk about that raced recently or raced in the early days of this meet. It's only a 7-day, 8-day meet. I think it is 6-day meet, whatever it is. So you do have horses who try and spin around very quickly. Irish Aces, one of those horses, is trying to do so, but sat that kind of trip that we talked about here, where it sat close to the pace and was able to take over late, able to get by 911 Turbo and get the victory there. Stepping up in class, right? I think that's the biggest question here for Irish Aces. But now you have a win over the track. You have the right style. It's a 4-year-old who's maturing later in the 4-year-old season. So there's a lot of positives here for Irish Aces. Also 21% for Brendan Walsh off of this type of layoff, second off of 45 to 180-day layoff. 11% in grade stakes, not great, but 17% when they won their last start. Pretty good there for Brendan Walsh, who clicks off at 15% as a trainer. So when they're good with him. Last off the ticket for me, but definitely one of those that I think you have to at least consider.
Ed Burke asks about the 5, Tut's Revenge, who we've covered more than a handful of times. I still think about him at Canterbury, which has not been, it's been 2 years since he last raced at Canterbury. So that means we've been doing this show a long time. But it's Mike Maker, 20-1 horse, won the last 2 races, both a mile. I was against him because he's 0 for 2 and not even close to good in his previous races at Kentucky Downs. Yeah,
that was my biggest issue with him as well. I guess you could make the argument that there's been enough time and he has improved, specifically in the last 2 starts and since switching to the Maker barn. Maker also pretty good over this track. So I don't hate the idea of Tut's Revenge. My issue around Tut's Revenge is a horse right to his outside strong quality, where like Tut's Revenge in both of those races went gate to wire. In the last 3 turf races has been on the lead. I don't see a world where strong quality doesn't clear Tut's Revenge. And if he doesn't clear Tut's Revenge, both of them are cooking up front. That's kind of what made me not want to use either of those horses.
Yeah, I agree with you. But hey, if you like Maker, he's 0 for 16 coming into today with 3 second-place finishes. But he's not stellar at Kentucky Downs, but he's good, and he can win races with the right horses. So if you like him, you're going to get a square price on him. Second leg of the Kentucky Downs, late pick 5 on Saturday, September 7th, race 9, the Franklin Simpson Stakes. All the money that's up for grabs on this card. This is the only grade 1 event, which I was surprised by. We've got 12 3-year-old males, 4 also eligible, sprinting 6.5 furlongs, and the top 3 finishers from last year's juvenile sprint stakes, all over the same distance, they're all back in this race. So if you want to go, well, which horses run well at Kentucky Downs, there's 3 of them right there, Mike.
Yeah, last year's winner, Vote No, 20-1 on the morning line. Beat Hedwig last time out as a Harry Potter fan. I like the name of the one here, but not sure I'm going to use it. I'm going to go with a price on top, Magic. Give me the 4-horse, Yellow Card, 15-1 on top here. This is a spot where if you look at Yellow Card's last race, it was the Mahoney, a 5.5 furlong turf sprint at Saratoga. Was 3-1 that day, 3.5-1 that day, and ended up running 6th. But it is a sneaky good 6th. The horse had trouble early, had to check late, never got free in the stretch. Like there was a bunch of reasons why I think Yellow Card didn't run to those odds. And honestly, like it wasn't a bad 6th either. Only ended up 2.5 lengths off the lead, and like I said, never got a real chance to run. I don't think the added distance is a big time issue. I like the fact that Mike McCarthy sent this horse here, bred by an Irish horse. I would expect the track style, not an issue for it. That was only the second time Yellow Card touched turf in his career as well. I think it's all systems go, and I'd love the 15-1 price that we're getting because of what happened in the last race.
I was so close to making this my top pick. The question I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite Yellow Card song? Do you have one?
Oh man. See, I thought you were going to make it a horse racing or a soccer question on the Yellow Card side. What was their big song?
Was it my favorite was Lights and Sounds? Is that the big one?
No. Okay, now tell me who your top pick is, and I'll look up Yellow Card the band.
Sure. Yeah, Lights and Sounds is my favorite. I like that album. I like the way it starts. There's like the piano interlude, which you don't ever get with punk rock albums, and all of a sudden it's just like and the big guitars. Anyways, top pick for me just by a nudge, another horse out of the Mahoney, who I actually think could have won the Mahoney in the stretch, but the jockey Ramon Vasquez decided with Howard Wolowitz, I'm going to drive you straight up the butt of another horse in front of you and then steer you into another horse's butt when I try to take you outside and just bury you on the inside. If he didn't have an inside trip in the Mahoney, if he got to go outside, I think Howard Wolowitz could have won that by at least a length. So I'm talking about the 10 horse in here. He's 9-2 on the morning line, and a big jockey upgrade. Sorry, Ramon, to Irad Ortiz Jr., who can still get horses buried. Don't get me wrong. We lambast him all the time for getting horses buried on the spots and rails, but at least he plays bumper cars to get himself out of trouble. So depending on if the stewards were feeling nice that day, Irad could have gotten Howard Wolowitz out. So I'm going to put the 10 on top.
I think it was Ocean Avenue was my favorite.
That was a good one. Yep. Jeff Bauer with a good pull.
Yeah, but I'm just I'm looking. I was just on their Wikipedia page. But yeah, that was fun. Yeah, go Lions, baby! Big season for them this year. So did you just talk about Howard Wolowitz? Is that who you talked about?
Yes, yeah, I did.
Second pick for me.
Awesome. We're right there. Okay.
Yeah, like this one as well. You mentioned it. Just a disgustingly bad ride by Vasquez last time out, I think is really the only way to put it. Was in that same race that we just talked about with Yellow Card, was a bigger price, but a horse I liked that day, and I'm going to go ahead and bet back. Third off the layoff here, Munning's horse, second time trying turf. Should have early speed. I think that two back is more like what we can expect to see from Howard Wolowitz. I do think that this is one who's going to compete for the pace. So I like the 10 here quite a bit as well. Agree with you there. And Jose D'Angelo, one of those sneaky good turf sprinting trainers too. Doesn't win as much as you'd expect, 13%, but a positive ROI with that 13%, which means that you're getting some numbers home, which we always like to see. Give me the 7, Joe Shiesty here. That's going to be the number 3 pick for me. And the final horse I'm going to use in this race, Joe Shiesty, man. Love the second off the layoff. Was in the local, quote unquote, local prep for this at Ellis Park in the Kentucky Downs preview turf sprint. Say that one 5 times fast against Olders. Ran against a bunch of, I guess it's not the prep for this. It's actually, that's the prep for the big sprint that we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
Ran against Olders that time, was the first time facing older horses, was also only the second time on turf and first off the layoff. Air Force Blue, a horse that I like to look at when we're running on turf sprints, specifically with some of these funky tracks. The workouts say this horse is doing well as well. Another one that could be the speed of the speed here. I think that is a positive too. So give me Joe Shiesty here, second off the layoff as my third and final horse on the ticket.
Fourth up for me, didn't use. I remember that William Walker win Derby week, and everybody went, what the hell just happened with Joe Shiesty? Except I think Aaron had that horse. I can't remember if you did, but I'm pretty sure Aaron had that horse to help cash a big payout on the bomb or the Rockets. You have the bomb. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up here. But if that's who I'm remembering, that was a huge pick for him for Joe Shiesty. Respect the horse. I couldn't get there. Like I said, third. I went 3 deep, and he's the fourth horse for me. I put the number 2 Evade on. This is a horse making the North American debut for trainer Mike Maker. Was privately purchased after a couple of duller efforts over in Britain, but did win at Epsom to start the 3-year-old campaign by a nose in the Surrey Stakes. Note that he and the second place horse were 9 lengths clear of third, and then went to Group 1 at Royal Ascot. Okay, in over your head. And then that last race at Chester, I don't know. It was good to soft going. Maybe this horse is going to want a firmer turf, but he's got the experience from overseas. Was privately purchased and then gelded, which I think is an interesting move. He's not getting Lasix, which I would love to see, but at least he's taking a big weight break as well. He's never carried 122 before. So I put the 2 on. Just he's an unknown Euro, and we're getting a good price on him.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I wouldn't have. Was never really going to make my ticket, but I understand why you're looking toward him. I agree with you on the pricing there. I consider the 11 Mensa Musa. Don't love the price at 4-1 when you combine the post and just the fact that this horse kind of disappointed big time last time out as a favorite and lost to Joe Shiesty in that race at Churchill that you referenced. The one horse Hedwig was the one horse that I'm going to regret not having on my ticket. That was like we mentioned horse for course. This one ran a very good second in that juvenile turf sprint, set the pace, made the lead, got caught late as a $1.19 favorite. Then comes back first off the layoff at Ellis. You have Luis Saez ride. That was a big weekend there, ends up beating Counterstrike. And now we're second off the layoff, going right back to a place this horse likes, very similar to what we saw last year. Did improve second out last year doing this. I would not be surprised at all if Hedwig is the one that busts up my ticket. So if you want to spend a little more than the $72 I'm spending, I would go 4 deep here and use the 1 Hedwig.
Dude, I considered it too. I don't know. You probably weren't paying too close attention to Ellis Park. I know you don't like that. Owen Hardy was on fire. He went 6 for 10 at the meet. He went 4 for 6 with his turf races, and all but 2 of those were first-time starters. Like, he was killing it at Ellis Park to the point where you just like blindly start putting his horses into your tickets and stuff because you're like, everything's clicking right now for him. And I'm with you. Hedwig's going to be the one, and we both see here go, oof. Where I kind of felt better about it, Mike, is that horse's big effort, the 86 buyer, by far the career best, first time Lasix, and nobody's getting Lasix in this race. And so I was like, it might be bullshit. This horse might still win without Lasix. But I told myself he doesn't have Lasix. He won't be able to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like the race November 23, right? A year prior to that race, basically, ran a 74, like totally logical regression, or I'm sorry, progression from 74 to 86, so from 2 to 3. Like there could be upside here too. That's the scary part about it. Been working well at Turfway Park as well. And then like this is just disgusting. Hardy Turf Sprints, 32% with a $5.03 ROI. Blind bet them and get plus 150 on your money. That's just wild.
Oh, it's crazy. And you can thank some of those Ellis Park efforts for that. The third leg of the Late Pick 5 at Kentucky Down Saturday, September 7th, race 10. It's the Grade 2 FanDuel TV Kentucky Turf Cup Stakes. 11 males, 3 and up, going 1.5 miles with $2 million and a free trip to the Breeders' Cup Turf on the line. Where'd you go on top?
Oh, I went pretty chalky here. I actually went chalk and a price. One of my favorite things to do when going too deep. Give me the 2-horse integration on top, 8 to 5. Look, you can tell me that this horse doesn't like to win. I don't really believe that. Was 3 for 3 as a 2-year-old to start out the career, including 2 graded stakes. Since then, has lost to Warm Heart, Masters of the Seas, Program Trading, and Nation's Pride. That ain't bad. Like, that's some pretty good horses that are on that list. There is none of those horses in this race. Sometimes it really pisses me off, honestly, when people are like, well, horses don't like to win. And then you look at who they're losing to, and you're like, come on, man. Like, which did you think they were going to beat? Program Trading, Master of the Seas, Naval Power, like Nation's Pride. Like, these are all very good horses. I think Integration is a deserving favorite in this spot and my top pick. But I am going to go too deep because I do like a price. Magic, did you put the 2 on top?
No, this is actually when the last horse is on my ticket. I wanted to go into this thinking I'm going to single Cogburn and I'm going to be against Integration. And I did neither of those things ultimately to tease the next race as well. But you outlined the biggest reason. This is a big class drop. All those horses that you named was ahead of Ancient Rome, who's we're both using as the 5-2 favorite in the first leg of this card. Like, the big horses he's facing, and I don't know. I look through this. I don't see anybody on that par really, unless it's possibly the 11 Chief Little Rock for Aiden, who I used, but is not really of that stature before. Did get a win 2 back at the Curragh, going 1.25 miles. But you got Frankie Dettori aboard. That's a good sign. The horse last time out that won when he was 12th, beaten 37 lengths at Royal Ascot. Callan was second to City of Troy in the Group 1 Juddmonte. That's a race that City of Troy is using to go to the Breeders' Cup Classic. So there's good backlash for the 11, but he hasn't shown up and said, I'm of the par of Master of the Seas, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the 11 was one of those horses where it's like just going to end up missing because the 11 also, you're pointing to one race in my mind. You're pointing to that race 2 back, the Grade 3 win. And like, I want to see more than that. Also, if you watch the races, like very forwardly placed horse as well. I don't love breaking from the 11 at this track in this race where you want to be forwardly placed. I mean, you've got...
But it's Frankie, baby!
Yeah, but you've got like Tawny Port and Balladeer that have shown speed before. You've got Segoy, who has some early tactical speed. And you've got Get Smoking, who's clearly going to make the lead. I just don't love being all the way outside with 5 horses who I think are going to be faster than you when your desired style is to be on or close to the lead. That just makes it a little scary for me.
I'll also point out, I agree with everything he said. I'll also point out that he lost 3 back by a length at Epsom to Bellum Justum, who just won the Nashville Derby here, which was a $3.1 million race. It's crazy. I wonder if Aiden knew that they were pointing to that, and Chief Little Rock also being 3. He was like, let's not go to that race. Let's go face older horses for $2 million instead of $3.1 million. I'm sorry, it is the richest Derby in the state of Kentucky.
Crazy. The purses here are just absolutely wild. Second horse on for me, and the second horse I'm using, the 4-horse Get Smokin' here. This is a horse who is 1-for-1 over the racetrack. Actually won the Turf Cup last year, so the defending champion here. And how did Get Smokin' do that? Get Smokin' went right to the front and never looked back at 19-1. Guess what Get Smokin's going to do again on Saturday? Go right to the front. Now, he may look back, but Get Smokin' is the speed of the speed. I think takes the lead early. And with this course specifically, you have this quicker first turn, right? This quick, like, well, it doesn't come up quickly, but he's going to be in the lead, and it is a very tight first turn. And that tight first turn means if you are not on the inside, you're automatically losing a length and a half to whoever the inside speed is, and it allows the inside speed to then, thank you for pulling that up, you can see it on the graphic there, it allows the inside speed to be able to open up a length or two naturally on whoever is 2 wide or 3 wide there. And then going up the backstretch, it kind of slows them down again. So it gives the front runners on these 1.5 mile and 3/8 type distances an advantage because of that first turn specifically. So I'll take Get Smokin', the 4-horse, able to go gate to wire in this event last year. Definitely going to get the lead again this year to see if he can hold out again.
He's the top pick for me. I keep looking at this graphic. Who designed this damn course? You get above it and you go, somebody. They thought. So what if they were just drinking a little bit too much corn mash and they thought they were making like a normal oval, and then they got done and this was the result?
That's quirky. It's quirky. It's got some spunk. It's a positive thing. It's an interesting course.
It definitely is. So I agreed with you there. I added the 4-horse in. Ed Burke brings up 2 others that I think are interesting. One of them is the 7, Tawny Port, who I actually at one point had on my ticket, making the course debut, but Pratt Clement should get a good stalking trip. I left him off because I know what Tawny Port usually is, and he's usually a horse that doesn't have that last to get by a horse, but for the win. But he fits. I'm a little scared of him. Are you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he fits. I can make the argument this horse doesn't like to win. Because, yes, you have losses to Silver Knot, but you also have losses to Fort Washington, right? Like, it's not just good horses. It's bad horses, too, and you're always in it, but you're never in front. The Tawny Port kind of scares me as one of those horses that's a pack animal, not a leader, not an alpha, but a beta, as the kids say. And beta is not how we try and cash pick 5s.
I wish I hadn't known that. The 9 is the other horse Ed mentioned, Anglophile. You might say the same thing. He's got the Dueling Grounds Derby win. He's got the win over the course going to Mount 5/16, but he likes to come from a little bit too far back, and he hasn't won in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's had 7 tries to get a win since then and hasn't.
Do you know what an Anglophile is?
Someone who's big on English history and culture, right?
No, it's a person who is fond of angles.
I'm just going to let you sit in that for a minute.
You're proud of yourself? It is a person who greatly admires England or Britain. But I like for a handicapping show, it is a person who loves horse racing angles.
Horse racing angles. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that's an Anglophile.
That's somehow slightly better. The penultimate leg of the Kentucky Downs Late Pick 5 on Saturday, September 7th, race 11 is the Grade 2 Turf Sprint Stakes for 12 horses, 3 and up plus 1. Also eligible, sprinting 6 furlongs. And $2 million and a Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint berth all on the line. And we're going to use Cogburn here. Who else did we use? Well, I guess we can talk about Cogburn for a second, but really I want to know who else you used with him.
Give me Gear Jockey, the 1 horse.
There it is.
No, I'm kidding. Not going to use Gear Jockey, even though if he wins, I'm just going to throw my hands up and curse Kentucky Downs because he would then be 3 for 3 over the course and won this race last year at 23-1 after everyone knew he loved the course. I put Cogburn on top. Speed's playing well. He should be the speed. He didn't make the lead last year. I do think he has a very good chance of making the lead this year. I think Ortiz just sends and hopes, and I don't have an issue around the distance. That's the one thing you're going to hear people knock Cogburn. This is a little bit longer of a turf sprint since it's 6.5 furlongs, but I think Cogburn going to be able to get the job done. I used the 8-horse Kadam.
God damn.
God damn. I like that actually the most. I think it's Kadam. Anyway, I use the 8-horse here. This is a horse that's coming over for Charlie Hill. Spencer actually took the ride, which I thought was awfully interesting. has danced all the dances over in Europe and all these grade 1 sprint races, has a win 3 back in the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. That was a $1.26 million race over there. Beat 13 other horses to get his picture taken that day. This is an 8-year-old who's, again, like just ran all of the big races. A little concerned we're starting to not be as good, but that Ascot win is one that I think looks good, although the horse absolutely loves Ascot, which could be the one knock on it. However, I'm still going to respect this horse coming over from Europe. I think that the back class is just so much greater than everybody else. If Kadem takes to the track, then I think he's going to be able to win. By the way, Charlie Hill's 1-for-1 with a $15 ROI shipping horses over the North American debut. So, I'll take the 8-horse Kadem here on top. Or in second, I should say. And I'm just going to use the 4 and the 8. I didn't get crazy. I didn't use Grooms All Business. I didn't use One Timer. I didn't use Gear Jockey, even though I considered all 3.
I really thought you were going to use Grooms All Business. That race at Parks, I was live on air in that race, and it was just a weird event. He didn't have his usual punch that we see from him, but Parks, his turf course, was kind of a super highway. They also shut it down. I don't know. Did you see the video someone took of that race the day after the horse broke down in this race? Unforgivable that they were out there running on like that's such a pockmarked turf course. So I was going to be forgiving of Grooms All Business. I have him in third here because I think that just scratch off that entire race for everybody. The 8 Kadem, I got scared off because of the price. I'm like, wow, 7-2 here. Like it's the new shooter angle, right? A lot of these horses have faced Cogburn or been in similar enough races where you're like, yeah, Cogburn is just better than these. Aaron did a preview for this race for the full field on the YouTube channel on the site that you can catch. And he said if this was a turf sprint at any other track, 6-5 on him would probably be a gift. People are going to knock that he was 5th in this race last year, but you kind of touched on this. He missed 8 months after that race. Something very well could have gone wrong. He could have gotten nicked up, could have gotten banged up a little bit. And out of that, he's had his 2 straight career best wins, including a world record at 5.5 furlongs. So,
and as much as I mock Steve Asmussen for turf training, he's actually been pretty good at Kentucky Downs over the years. So he's had success here consistently. So I don't mind using him here on the turf.
I went with the number 3 one-timer. I went 3 deep here. I went with the 3 one-timer as my second choice. Boy, if you watched him face Arrest Me Red was so game in that race, in that allowance race to win back on August 31st. And I work with a lot of people who had a lot of money going into one-timer that missed the pick 5 because he didn't get that photo. So it was a really tough effort. He was second by a head behind Gear Jockey in this race last year. And Jared Loveberry picks up the mount again after that race last time out. Ravelli's got the win so far at the meet, so I'm going to use the 3 one-timer. He's just such an honest horse. He always shows up.
Yeah, also ran his best number of his 2-year-old and 3-year-old careers in a race here, winning, getting a 99 buyer. So has a win over the track, has 2 tough second-place finishes. We know one-timer loves the track. A little worried about the wheelback factor. That was my biggest concern about one-timers, that we're coming back real fast. I think we're coming back because he loves the track. We'll see how much that effort took out of him. It was a battle. It was a ding-dong battle down to the line, too. So I'm a little skeptical on one-timer in this spot specifically because of that. But again, like I was 4 and 8 were my top 2. And then it was the 7, the 3, and the 1 that were the next 3 in contention. And one of the reasons was, again, because he loves the track.
So last horse for me, totally taking a big swing here. But he's going to be one hell of a price. And that's the 9 Noble Reflection. This horse actually, I think, has a good chance. Frankie Dettori picks up the mount for the second start. Yes, I do. Well, he seems to love Kentucky Downs. Second start of the year, had a long layoff, 9 months. Comes back into the Wicker Stakes, and he runs like dog shit. He's forwardly placed for about a quarter of the race, and then just completely quits. Ends up last, beaten over 39 lengths. So then they ship him out here to Kentucky Downs for this race. That's crazy. Frankie Dettori is going to pick up the mount. That's crazy. He doesn't even ever ride for Georgie Papadee, but the horse comes over here, and he really does well on the downhill course at Santa Anita. And that was kind of the angle I went with, is that this horse does very well on the downhill turf course. This is going to be kind of like a reverse downhill turf course at Santa Anita, but you combine him with all these factors where it doesn't make sense that Dettori is going to ride him in this race. And, Noble Reflection, man, if he wins, can you imagine what this sequence is going to pay? 6 figures.
The thing is, like, if you get one of these type of horses home, the sequence is going to pay like crazy. And you throw out the turf sprint from last year. It broke poorly, got took up right there, never in the race. So I wouldn't even worry about the fact that he struggled over Kentucky Downs course in that one spot. Can I give you my crazy one?
Sure.
12 horse, Mustache. This is a horse that is now later in the 4-year-old season, and I thought ran a very good race doing something that he doesn't really like to do last time, which was trying to close in that Kentucky Downs preview turf sprint. I wouldn't be shocked if Mustache takes a step forward and hits the try and possibly ends up winning the race. Don't love the post, though. That's the one thing about these races. Like when we talked about the posts and how it was important to be up front last time out for the 4-horse because of how tight that turn is, because of how sweeping this second turn is. The 6 furlong mark starts right at the top of the sweeping turn, which means that you are pretty much just stuck outside. In that 12 post, you're going to be 4 or 5 wide around this long sweeping turn. You're inevitably going to give up some ground there.
Real quick, gear jockey, neither of us are using. He's won this race twice. For me, it's the layoff. You?
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly the layoff and the fact the horse isn't very good outside of those 2 races. So like I realize horse for course, I totally get that. But the fact that this is first off the layoff, and I think this is a inferior horse, like I see, here's the thing. Like if Cogburn weren't in here, I probably would have ended up going like 6 deep and probably would have used gear jockey. But because Cogburn's in here and I'm going to use Cogburn, all of a sudden my options are limited around how deep I can go, right? Because like, let's say Cogburn's out, I'm probably going 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, 12, right? Like it's going to be a spread city for me. But because he's in there, I'm not going to, when I have a 6 to 5 on top, I'm not going to go 6 deep in a race. That's just silly.
Rusty Arnold deserves the Eclipse Award. If he can get gear jockey ready off that long layoff and win this race, that would be impressive. 5th and final leg of the Kentucky Downs Late Pick 5, Saturday, September 7th, race 12. It's a mile affair for 12 maidens, 3 and up. 4 are also eligibles. A maiden special weight with a $170,000 purse. Damn, it's good to be a horse player or a horse owner in Kentucky going to Kentucky Downs.
Yeah, not quite a horse player. The 7 horse, the Bat. Love the name. Here on top, Brendan Walsh, first-time starter for Tyler Gaffleone. I believe this is your top pick as well, and the horse you considered singling, so I will let you take over here on the 7, the Bat.
Yeah, I was going to go super crazy and single him here because this is a race that's pretty wide open, right? Lots of 3-year-olds that are just still trying to figure things out. And Brendan Walsh and Tyler Gaffleone, I talked about at Kentucky Downs, last 5 years, 23% winners, $3.24 ROI, so a 62% automatic return. Brendan Walsh at Kentucky Downs just in the last 5 years in general, he's 249 ROI with a 17% win rate. And in maiden special weights, that number goes up to 18% and 333 ROI. So he does well in these situations. He does well at Kentucky Downs. It feels like this horse has been targeting Kentucky Downs for the debut. If you see how long the horse has been working, I mean, the work schedule goes all the way back to June, and the horse has just been steadily working at Turfway Park. And I think the horse, all signs are go. The other name or the other foal, did you see the half brother?
No.
There's the Bat. There's the Boot.
They need to race against each other.
The Boot and the Bat.
Yeah, the Boot and the Bat. I all reasons you said. The Walsh and Gaffleone very good together. Like the fact that this horse has worked a bunch. Like the fact that we've got a bullet work and then another like smattering of fast works as well. This is a Shadwell homebred. Generally, they're going to be pretty well bred. Speightstown mare or sire out of a Bernardini mare. Distance turf shouldn't be an issue. And I don't think this race is great. That's a big part of this for me, is like I don't love everything I see on here, so I'm willing to take a little bit of a shot with a first-time starter. And with that same idea, let me take the 12 here, Thornberry, as my second pick, a horse that has shown speed and quit in the last 2 races at Gulfstream Park and Keeneland. This is a horse that hasn't realized the potential, it feels like right now, for Chiefswood Stables and Bill Mott. But Mott, not someone who sends horses all that often to Kentucky Downs. He's only sent 8 so far this meet. 2 of those won. So he's sending live horses and horses that he thinks are going to be able to do well over this turf course. Magla d'Oro is the sire, Grand Slam on the bottom. I think that's a good setup for this specific course. And I like the fact that we're speed. The run up here, also a big difference. We mentioned that mile. This is not a bad spot to be an outside post. So I feel like Thornberry able to be a part of the pace, or if not set the pace. And then we'll see if there's enough in the lane here. But 6-1, don't mind that price there on Mott. So I was 7-12. Who was your second place horse here?
Yeah, I went with the 12. There are a couple horses I went back and forth on, but Bill Mott is last 5 years at Kentucky Downs. He's 14%. Okay, that's fine. Maiden special weights last 5 years, 21%. He is much better when he's got the maidens that he's purposely sending here versus like, oh, this is a horse, a stakes horse, and I guess it kind of sets up for him to try Kentucky Downs. Lost to White Palomino last time out at Keeneland. That horse was a head and a head away from a couple of graded stakes wins. Yeah, the Belmont Derby and the Pennine Ridge. So very good horse that you lost to in your most recent start. And it's got the forward placement. We just need to see, hopefully this horse has developed and grown up a little bit since we last saw him 5 months ago. But yeah, I just went too deep here. This was the horse. I was like, I can't single the first time starter. Although what Jerry W says, if Brendan Walsh doesn't have a good weekend, then I probably won't either. That's usually my mantra. If B. Walsh has a bad weekend, I have a bad weekend.
Didn't El Resin do something too? The horse that ran second to White Palomino in that race?
I just closed it. Let me go check because El Razine. Yeah. What did
he won a race and then was at Saratoga and ran well too?
Yeah, won 2 straight wins at Saratoga. Yep.
Yeah. So a pretty good race that Thornberry is coming out of. I ended up going 4 deep here. I used the 9B plus as the next one up for me, Crichton and Jose Ortiz here. Another horse that showed speed 2 back. First off the layoff, the Colonial did not like being on the inside. If you go back and you watch that, drew the one post and was not a happy horse for quite a while. Ended up being able to get outside late, had the best stride late, ended up just missing the 3rd place finish there as the favorite. Now you get second off the layoff, second time with Lasix, a horse that has tactical speed, but now we know can pass horses as well, like that setup there for the 9B plus, who's 10-1. And then I used the 3 secured lender, Clarovich Stables, Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz. So the connection's all kind of one of those horses a lot of people are going to use. This horse debuted at Ellis, which I thought was interesting. Kind of makes me feel like the plan all along was to end up here at Kentucky Downs on the turf course and to focus on a maiden special weight. You go back and watch the race. Horse never really got asked, just kind of a jaunt around around in the park that day or around the circle in that day. I think you're going to see a lot more out of the 3 secured lender here, second time out, with a much better purse that they will be competing for, and on the turf surface, which look is an Omaha Beach out of an Awesome again, probably could be either, but when you're paying $400,000 and it's a Chad Brown horse, you're probably not debuting a horse at Ellis if you think it's going to be a stakes contender on the dirt. There's probably some other plan for it. I think we see part of that plan on Saturday.
I considered both of those. I also thought that the firefight was in the number 1 firefight was interesting, though not at 4-1. Seems like it's got a lot of speed. I question the distance. The Dam was her best races were sprinting. She tried 2 turns only once and it didn't go well. So you know why I didn't use that horse? How much does Warfront stand for? Oh, this is a great point. Holy smokes.
Have you ever seen that before?
So Warfront stands for 100,000 and the horse sold for 7,000, but that was January. That was this January, the 3-year-old sale. I wonder if somebody else. Okay. Now I want to know who owned Firefight before.
So the one show Firefight, son of Warfront. Warfront's $100,000 to breed to. This horse is a 3-year-old sold for $7,000. I mean, that is not a good sign. And I realize, like, between now and then, a lot of things can happen. They gelded this horse after they purchased it, so maybe there was just some funky monkey action going on. But like, anytime you see $100,000 stallion price and the horse sells for 0.7% or 7% of it, that's never a good sign in my mind.
Horse was originally $135,000 purchase as a yearling. Did not start even working until October of the 2023. 3 stopped after 3 works. Then got sold in January for $7,000. So whoever S1 Racing is said, "Get him out of here." Yeah. And the trainer bought him.
Yeah, and Keneally bought him, and then to see, okay, the horse comes back and speed and quit, and now you're in here like at 4-1. I would need a lot bigger of a price considering all the underlying issues I have with the horse.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining us to discuss Kentucky Downs Late Pick 5, our annual sojourn into Kentucky Downs territory. And we hope you had fun. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you have some luck with Kentucky Downs. The nice thing about Kentucky Downs is you only need to be right once or twice to have a really great day. The problem is there's like 13, 14 darts a day you have to throw.
I'm watching
all that being said,
get up there. Oh yeah, the 5's going to win this race.
Saratoga,
Kentucky Downs.
Hey, all right.
Thursday, Sunday. I got 135 here, and the 5 is maybe lose to the 7, even though it looked like he was gonna win for fun. Now we're head up. Now it's even. Now we're head up, and we're gonna have a photo finish. I have no idea who won.
Shadi brought up, so I meant to ask in the last race and I forgot. Were you a fan of the Wild Thornberries, the Nickelodeon's cartoon?
No. I think I was too old
Oh, okay.
I think I was too old for Wild Thornberries.
Oh man, you must have just missed it. I love that show. One of the last great Nickelodeon cartoons. After that, it kind of all went. Once they all started making the movies, then it all just got. And then it was they lost the art.
Shadi, do you like Descendants? I don't know if you've ever seen those. My daughter is now super.
I know what they are.
Yeah. So that's become a big thing in our household. They're like high school musicals, but with the children of the villains.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. It's got some legs, right? It's on its like fourth season or fourth iteration or whatever. Anyways,
the fourth movie just came out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right, let's get our tickets for the podcast listeners before they go nuts here. I'm gonna go 2-3-10 with 2-4-10 with 2-4-11. Wow, sensing a pattern. 3-4-9 and 7-12 to close it out. $81 for me, Mr. Somich.
I'm going to play a $72 ticket. Give me the 2-8-10 with 4-7-10 with 2-4 with 4-8 with 3-7-9-12. And I'd say Franken ticket, you single Cogburn, and then you use everybody we're using the other legs. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, not a bad single there.
That would probably be
good luck.
Yeah, good luck. But that would probably be the best way to Franken ticket it.
Over on the website, we've got picks up for the closing weekend at Del Mar as well. The debutante with Noonie, there's big favorite there. Aaron's full preview of the Turf Sprint Stakes. All the stakes action this weekend covered on Blinkers Off. And then we've got free win picks over on the website. You can always get them by this free picks tab right here. But for the most popular tracks, Kentucky Downs, Del Mar, this weekend, we'll have it right here, easy to access on the homepage. It's the same picks that you get there. I'm just giving you a couple fewer clicks to get there to find that information. Mike, when are you going to be on VSiN this weekend?
Going to be on, it's new football season, so we got a new football schedule here. I will be on Saturday and Sunday from 4 to 7 Pacific on Saturday, including from 6 to 7 will be the contest show. So talking about Circa Survivor, over $12.5 million already in that pool, and the Circa Millions.
Wow.
And then on Sunday, I will be from 5 to 8 o'clock leading up to the Sunday Night Football kickoff, and then talking about Week 3 lines. So excited for some football to be back in our lives. Found a Chiefs -2.5, -109 today, so I do have a little bit of Chiefs action, like Rashee Rice over 5.5 receptions as well, but not going crazy on tonight's game because I'll be at my daughter's school because it is Parents' Night, which starts at 5 o'clock. So they are intentionally messing with my NFL viewing experience, and I'm not too happy about it.
They're testing you. You're being tested more than your kid. What does Parents' Night entail?
You get to see the classroom, meet the teacher, meet the other parents in the class, all that jazz. So it will be 75% focused on what I'm doing there. It's a fair number, right?
Listen, it's 60% is passing, right?
Yeah, 60% is passing. So I'll have a solid C in the parenting department tonight.
And then I'm on a bunch this week. I'm off today and tomorrow. So I'm on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I think. Yeah, all with Caleb Keller, with our good friend Caleb Keller. It's been a lot of fun doing the CK Squared show. So you can catch us over on FanDuel TV. FanDuel, proud sponsor of the Kentucky Turf Cup Stakes. But I'm not paid to plug them on this airwave, so I'm going to stop right there. Thanks so much for joining us. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. And last question. Best bet for tonight, Thursday Night Football, kicking off the season.
Kansas City -2.5 or Rashee Rice over 5.5 receptions. I don't want Kansas City -3. Make sure you get 2.5. If you can't find it, Rashee Rice over 5.5 receptions. Also, like longest reception over 21.5 yards for Xavier Worthy, rookie receiver for the Chiefs.
Okay.
They're going to take at least 3 shots with them. They need to establish the ability to stretch the field. The Chiefs offense does. You're going to see them throw at least multiple deep balls to him. He needs to catch one of them for you to cash.
Love them deep balls. Love that you watch us here on the Magic Mike Show. Stay tuned. Stay subscribed. We'll be back next week for another fun edition. And in 50 minutes from now, so at 2:45 Pacific, the Hawthorne live show will be back with Aaron and myself. Mike, you're welcome to join, but I know you've got the out of it being parent night, so we'll miss you on the Hawthorne show. It's a lot of fun. If you guys used to watch Dudes Who Bet Daily, it's a lot of that same silliness, just now we have to talk about only Hawthorne in horse racing.
Yeah.
So it's a more focused silliness.
I'm sure you'll talk NFL in opening night. I'm sure you'll talk about Kentucky Downs and Del Mar, which will be running at the same time. So I'm
that's
sure
true. Del Mar will still be running at the same time.
Yeah, you'll do some cross promotion around other tracks as well. But make sure you bet Hawthorne because Hawthorne is allowing us to show the races, and we really do appreciate that.
Yes, thank you for mentioning it. I forgot that. We get to watch it. We'll have the races streaming live. So the track feed will be live here on the YouTube channel. Join us for that. We'll be back next week. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.